All right, welcome back. Welcome back, Chandler. Welcome back, class. Glad to see you.
Glad to be here.
We are people who experience things, and that's the key word, experience. We experience people, we experience nature, we experience things we can and cannot explain. We are dumbstruck, we are gobsmacked, we are awed, we are silenced by our experiences. And when we try to talk about some of these experiences, it's like trying to talk about last night's dream to someone else. It's so slippery. That's the nature of having experiences. Not being able to communicate fully what they are, how they happen, what they mean, how to interpret them as we go forward in our lives.
So our thesis, we don't experience things as they are. We experience things as we are. Well, you wrote that, Merle. What the hell does that mean?
In a word, anthropomorphism.
Oh.
Anthropo equals human. Morphism means, or morph means the shape or the form of, okay? So seeing something that is not human in the form of a human, okay?
So you mean like when I talk to my pets, my raccoons,
Yeah.
as if they actually understand me, like they know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or when I name my car, Sally, or whatever you want to
Yeah,
name the car.
yeah.
Or I see shapes, especially like in a cloud, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a firefighter, like a human shape in a cloud. Like,
That was like Chandler, one of my god-awful students. So you're going to see some pictures on the screen of pictures I've taken in nature that remind me of me. And that's what anthropomorphism is. We want to see ourselves everywhere we are reflected back to us because we are egotistical SOBs.
there's so many directions I could go with things that look like you.
Yeah. But let me nuance this. When you experience something like love for someone or hate, or you feel led to flip somebody off because they cut you off in traffic, I know that never happens to you, or when you feel aggression towards someone, remember it's our own self, our own flaws, our own aggressions that are first triggered. This is Psych 101, folks.
So, and essentially, we project onto the other, whatever the other is, the other, our own defects, and merely approach or love or hate or become aggressive toward someone's you perceive.
So when you're doing that primarily with your own actual love, your own actual hate, your own actual aggression or defects.
Yeah, so you take someone or your experience of someone, but you clothe that experience in who you are, not who they are.
Yeah. I know none of you have ever done this.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you have any ideas have you ever seen this in action in your own stuff?
Well, yeah, I mean, in my practice, for sure. People talk about experiences or things that they're encountering or they're seeing or whatever, and anytime that we use the word I or me,
Yeah.
It's like, well, oftentimes they take the thing that they don't like about themselves the most,
Yes.
and they portray that through whatever it is that they're experiencing.
And it's something usually unexamined.
Yes,
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, anthropomorphism in religion is basically imagining God or gods or angels or devils or monsters, but on human steroids. That's why a good monster movie the monster looks human. Can you see? Alien. And just a PSA here, when you only see your God anthropomorphically, as a divine being with human attributes, that image will eventually fail you, and you have a crisis of faith.
So what Mark and I are trying to do in this class is ask you, while you are not in a crisis mode, right, while you're at baseline, to think with us about what having a human-based idea of God does to us and how long that can last before that crisis of faith comes, because it will.
It will come. And so what we're trying to do, if you can say that, is we're trying to prepare you for what will happen one day, if it hasn't already. So at least you come prepared with critical thinking.
Right.
There was a German theologian philosopher named Ludwig Feuerbach who wrote a devastating critique of anthropomorphism in a book he called The Essence of Christianity. And he says that religion is just human experience indexed to a degree of transcendence. Or put it in my words, human steroids in the divine. Or divine,
Injection of the human in the divine. So remember when you fell in love, or if maybe you haven't, or when you fell in hate. I think everybody's done end up in that. All of a sudden and instantly.
Yeah, like fall in love at first sight.
Yep, boom, there it is. But you couldn't pinpoint why you felt that rush or that feeling.
Yeah.
Like you don't know where it came from. It's because it stimulated something in you, something that you weren't even aware of. You didn't even know it was there, and you ran with that stimulation without analyzing it, without stepping back and looking at it. Mm-hmm. So here's the honest, critical thinking truth, all right? We imagine things, therefore, as we are, not as reality is.
That's harsh, man.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but it's true.
I know. And in my better moments, I imagine. And sometimes in my worst imaginings, I can be misled into confusing something outside of me for my own feelings, my own emotions, and so on. Basically, we see things in clouds. Basically, because we want to see ourselves everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because we want to. Maybe we're not feeling so good about ourselves as human beings. Mm-hmm. And I think this is especially true in religion. So when you react for or against some leader or whomever, it's basically something in you that is recognizing something unexamined and untreated in you. But it's inside of you, and it's still there, mm-hmm. and it's lurking, and until you deal with it, you're going to have a demon. Mm-hmm. Like, ever been in a bad, unexamined marriage? Okay?
A couple.
Yeah. So the unconscious can happen like that in religion, mm-hmm. or maybe the career you chose. You maybe have chosen it for a bad reason, like mm-hmm. it's going to make me rich.
Right. And psychologically, you talk about Jung, for instance, and the shadow self.
Yeah.
This is that shadow within us that we don't even know necessarily is there, or what it holds, what it carries with it, and then something triggers that, and here it comes.
Yeah. And we don't know where the hell it came from.
Not a clue.
Yeah. So our thesis for this class today is on religious experiences, and it's this: we don't experience things as they are. We experience things as we are. Mm-hmm. Now let's just back up a bit and support what we just claimed. There are many ways we can experience things. We can experience them directly, without words, like intimacy, and that experience will linger, and it will shape us for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Or we can experience things with words attached, with verbalizing them.
Yeah.
Like a casual lunch or dinner with friends or time with relatives or grandkids or kids. And that experience also stays with us, perhaps as feelings of happiness or longing for more of what we experienced.
Yeah, but it lingers. It produces this kind of penumbra over us that we
a longing of or for. Yeah.
So over time, our experiences build up these emotions that we come to trust and like or dislike. Mm-hmm. We develop morality from these experiences on how to act, how not to act, when to withhold action. Because our experiences places the edges of our skin against the edges of the very universe we live in. And as we rub up against our world, our universe, we gain more and more experiences as our borders of skin meet the borders of the world through family and kin and colleagues and friends and enemies and frenemies and social media and so on and so on and so on. There are some experiences we come to call religious. Mm-hmm. They can come to us in our time spent in a religious ritual, which we talked about, or service. They can come to us in a once-in-a-lifetime sacred experience, like the holy, that changes like forever, like Moses or Jesus or Muhammad.
Yep. Or they come in the average day-to-day monotony, and the experience of religious experiences seems extra normal, extraordinary, or special, unique even. I mean, like something that you've never experienced before.
Yeah.
And we treat those religious experiences as if they matter much, much more than our average, everyday drudgery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think it does. Because what shapes us is, yes, the religious experiences shape us and how we believe and what we do and all that. But the day-to-day stuff, I think, also shapes who we are and how we react.
Yeah, yeah.
And so why don't we put a little more emphasis on that stuff?
I don't know. We like the big, we go to the fairgrounds every fall to ride the big rides.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to,
Yeah.
you know,
We want the big thing.
right.
Yeah. So, how does the religious experience come to us, shaping us, changing us, even resurrecting us? They come to us as dreams, as aha moments, oh my God moments, as images sometimes that come to us, connecting us with ancient archetypes and stories that human beings have met and befriended through the millennia. We might call these connections mountaintop experiences, altered states of consciousness. For what is religion but an imagined tribute to an alternative way of being? For in our religions, we take these mountaintop experiences and fold them and mold them and write them down in words that become scripture. We ritualize them like a Holy Communion or a pilgrimage. We repeat them because when we do, we feel like we're being as close to our imagined sense of ultimate reality as possible. Whatever that ultimate reality is, may call it God, the holy, the sacred.
Yeah. But what we're really doing is psychology work,
Yeah,
right? And psychology is where we get the word psyche, right? Or, ready for this, what psyche means? Soul.
yeah, yeah. You're making the connections out there, right?
So we take the special moments in our religion's past, we make them into religious experiences today, right? All in an effort to help us imagine that what we do today, what happens right now today, syncs up with the special experiences of the founding or the founders of the religion. This is soul work. This is psyche work. And even psychological experiences.
Yeah. So examples of some religious experiences. A pilgrimage to Mecca.
Or to Jerusalem.
Or have you ever walked the Camino de Santiago? Yeah.
And we celebrate holy meals like the Feast of Saints because we want to be more like them, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Ever had Holy Communion?
yep. Or taking a Passover meal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are all memorials of things that happen in history that we want to have happen again in our lives. Sometimes we fast because our ancestors in faith did so.
Yep. Or we get baptized.
Yeah. We go on silent retreats out in the wilderness.
Yeah. We sing certain songs in certain ways.
Chants even. We have these coming of age rituals like a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah.
Yeah. Or we have life cycle events like birth celebrations, birthdays.
Yeah, circumcisions.
Yep. Weddings.
Funerals.
Sometimes they're one and the same.
No comment. There is not just this going through the motions activities, but real experiences we infuse with deep psychological and symbolic meaning. They're not some willy-nilly actions, but they are programs programming us to get us deeper into the faith and the religion, into its mindset more. Why? So that when you are called upon to sacrifice for your faith, you are so there. You're so willing to give up your liberty, your property, your happiness, your relationships, and even your life in service and sacrifice to the bigger picture, the community, or to your God. And that's big stuff, folks.
That's huge.
That's big. So religious experience can really prepare us for a lot of good, interesting things.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah. So religious experiences when they're done in community, a bunch of people together, they can serve to reinforce community bonds, transmit cultural values, and facilitate spiritual experiences.
Yeah. These religious experiences also involve the use of sacred objects, symbols, or even be held in spaces that hold deep meaning within that particular religious tradition.
Yeah.
This is not anywhere. It's a special place.
Right, right. And the timing and frequency of religious and ritualized experiences can be tied to the lunar calendar.
Like the Hebrew.
Exactly, just like the Hebrew. Seasonal cycles or significant events in the religious calendar. Yeah. I mean, look at the Aztecs even.
Yeah, or look at the every day in the Catholic Church is some feast day. Yeah.
Yep.
When we participate in these religious experiences and rituals, it can be a means of expressing our devotion, our seeking of divine favor, or achieving some kind of spiritual purification, transformation. It can even mean we experience salvation.
But the specific form and meaning of religious rituals can vary significantly across different cultures and religious traditions, even within the same religion.
Yeah. But throughout these histories, what's happening in every one of them, they let us know that what we do now is syncing up with what is, capital W, capital I, the what is, God, experiencing the holy, capital H, to become more like the holy. These experiences of becoming a part of a larger community is important, for they lead to change within and on a societal level. No matter if your community is a reading group or a meetup group or a live musical experience or in a worship service with tens of thousands of people, these are religious experiences linger with us and they shape us and they change us. And the more we the more we imagine them as important, then the more we will try to imitate them in our own lives so we can then sync up better and more often with our God.
Right. So let's think about it separately of God and religion for a second and talk about fellowships in recovery.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yeah.
Like AA, NA, any of the A's.
Yeah.
You know, that is a community experience where you're experiencing the same thing, although people may experience those things differently within a meeting, with the hope of syncing up to this greater good that is living in recovery away from your substance or your process or whatever your addiction is.
Yeah. And what this AA, NA business is all about is training you to become vulnerable to the crap that's within you that you've allowed in there, but becoming vulnerable on a regular basis, once a day or however often you meet, you then build up this reservoir of resiliency. Because when you become vulnerable, it makes it easier to, metamorph, to move out of what you used to be into something that you are already and can be.
And back to our last class, in order to get to that point, you have to be emptied.
Yes, exactly, yes, yeah. All of these are basically human experiences that we have reframed as holy experiences, and that's okay. That is okay.
Yeah.
And I hope you will more intentionally transform your basic human experiences that you do every day and try to see, what if they are more faithful? What if there's something that helps me with my faith?
Yeah. And again, our thesis is that we experience things as we are, not as reality ever is.
Yeah. So we have to work on ourselves. Yeah. We come close, we feel, and sometimes we hit the holy and the sacred sweet spot. And we feel like we are in the presence of or actually part of the divine, the holy, or whatever your name is for ultimate reality.
And it's not that my experience is watered down or diluted, but my experience is reframed by my imagination to be of an entirely different quality, a different order of that standardized reality.
Yeah, and in AA, you come in as a person dependent, but it changes you through the repetition, but maybe even in one session, it changes you from somebody who's a slave into someone who used to be a slave, enslaved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Somebody who's taking control of it.
Yeah, yeah. And not control freaking.
Right. Yeah.
So most of the time, our experience is of oneself as an I or a me or as an individuated being, separate and different from all of the beings. And that's how most of us go through life all the time. Each of us has got our own bag of skin inside which we cannot experience the same thing as any other person or animal can do. We can only experience things as we are in the moment, not as the reality of others. So, as a being of self-consciousness, myself recognizes this discontinuity, this disconnect between what's inside and what's outside, between ego and other, between I and the its, or the things that I think are just things, like animals or roaches. All these things, and every time you think of an I or an it, it's your imagination at work. But this discontinuity between I and it means that my relationship to the world, it means that my relationship with the world is problematic. Maybe a brokenness is at the core of human existence, a primal split between self and not self, an experience of estrangement, alienation, or even guilt in which I as an individual feels cut off from the world. from other persons, from the natural environment, from the universe, from being in general. And this brokenness of human experience might be characterized as a basic, fundamental alienation, an experience, again, an alienation of my small sense of self or sense of being from the larger sense of self or being that is grounded in the very conditions of human existence itself. So I go to my religious spaces to heal, to overcome the gap, to heal the partial me and become one with whatever it is that we imagine we are not one with at the moment. So we can become one with it.
Right.
Thus, this is a basic need, an essential task of our religions and of human existence, to establish some kind of experience in which I can have a meaningful and harmonious relationship between what I am, as I am, and the world as it is, between the I and the it, between the human person and the being as such. Why? Because if there's anything good about religions, it helps me to experience the world as others do and not just as I do. Can you say golden rule?
And thinking outside the box.
Yeah. I mean, and the golden rule is always your turn
Yep.
to do.
do the next thing.
You're at bat.
Yeah.
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 And that's harsh.
Yeah. So, okay, so here's a point, Mark. My experience of something sacred may be different from the way that my religious community experiences the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So, for example, I have an unrepeatable experience, whatever it is, and I'm driven to silence.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. I'm silent about it.
Yeah.
And others with the same experience may be driven to song or poetry or hugging everyone. You know, we human beings are so various, and there are likewise various kinds of religious experience. You know, one thing is not the same to anyone else.
Amen, brother.
You know?
Amen.
Yeah.
But one must have an experience with the sacred to begin, to start that spiritual or religious life. We may experience the holy as an initiating power, coming to us, it seems, from beyond human categories, which can be very scary. And it's funny how that religious experience may seem to require a response to the initiated action. That is, it's now my turn after the holy has invited me to do something. That is, we imagine that God or the holy initiates or calls or has a job for me to do. And this feels so mystical. And I imagine, there's that I word again, I imagine it's my duty to respond. And this is not pretend stuff, but it's exactly how a relationship works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and in this mystical is how all religions begin. The mystical is the beginning of all religions. The mystics claim that their experiences of the sacred are usually the most important experiences that not only begin a religion, but also keep that religion alive past the lifetime of its founder. So the religious experience, you see, has to mean something. It's like I've been given this 1 million piece jigsaw puzzle, a puzzle into which I fit as one itsy bitsy tiny piece, but I've got to figure it all out. I've got to find my place in the puzzle, connect my single life with the larger life, the larger puzzle, the larger consciousness, even to infinity itself. So to find my place, I join in religious experiences. I get opened to them, and I bend my life to their expectations. First, to see the big picture. And at the same time, second, to see myself as part of that big picture.
So, so this figuring out the relationship of my finite to the holy's infinite or infinite is what religion is all about.
Yeah.
And just in general.
Yeah.
The here and now just has to correspond to the elsewhere and the later, the beyond. I've got to imagine or see myself, my small sense of self, in relation to this whole shebang, the whole thing, as grand as that is.
So, as we've seen in the first one or two classes, religion connects, and that is an experience. We've got to experience that connection. Because religion is the experience of binding or connecting. It connects the now with the later, the here with the everywhere. It links up my sense of alienation with the sense that everything, when connected right, makes sense. Religion must explain my experience and begin to answer my questions now, or it will become irrelevant. So, Chandler, class, how we experience the holy is all at once wondrous and fragile and divergent and diverse and explaining and yet more mysterious than ever. Religious experience can be experienced like last class's 6 ways of being religious, as experiencing sacred rituals, doing the right actions, as devotion, as shamanic mediation between this world and the divine world, as a mystical quest, and as a lifelong quest and reasoned inquiry.
But whatever your personality type may be,
Yeah.
or however, in whichever way or ways you experience your reality, you feel caught up in this other experience of the supernatural that has this claim on you, right? And that experience may turn you into a priest or a nun or a shaman or a lifelong student or a pilgrim or a searcher. It gives you a vocation. It gives you a calling, not just a career, not just a job. Experiences affect all of us differently. What is a silencing moment of awe for one person is a totally emotional moment for another, or a quiet realization for still another. Some people are loud about it,
Yeah.
and they want to tell everyone, and some people don't want anyone to know
Yeah.
because it's that special.
Yeah, it is special, but how do we kind of frame it? I'd like to introduce one religious thinker. His name is Rudolf Otto. There's his picture.
And there's his thinking pose.
Yeah. He said that religion is the experience or apprehension of the holy. Of course, the holy is something we don't experience every day in waking life, but occasionally it breaks through, like we've talked about Moses at his burning bush, or Buddha sitting under his bo tree, or Muhammad in his cave, or Jesus in his wilderness. Okay. And these are all guys, but women too. Come on. Okay. But
Sure.
everybody can feel this. So they can have these experiences that sear themselves into our conscious and transform us. And we think of those places, we imagine those spaces where this experience grows in us as a sacred space. Otto said in his influential 1917 book, The Idea of the Holy, that these experiences are the deepest and most fundamental element in all strong and sincerely felt religious emotion. They are to be found, he said, in strong, sudden eruptions of personal piety, and they come to us as thrillingly vibrant and resonant, like a mountaintop experience. It can even be violent, erupting from the depths of the soul with spasms and convulsions, and lead to the strangest excitements, to intoxicated frenzies, to transport, even to ecstasy. So he mentioned 3 categories of religious experience. I'm going to introduce them now, but in our next class, we're going to dive deeper into these 3. For I think Otto has reached the heart of this whole religious experience stuff. His first idea, mysterious and tremendous, or mysterium tremendum. Mysterium tremendum is Latin for awesome, wordless, overpowering, tremendous force. It's like you see this hurricane or tornado coming, you just duck down in the closest place, the most safe place you can, and then all hell's breaking loose over you, and you're down there cowering. You say, "Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's so huge. It's so amazing.
And some people feel like God is like that too.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? And that's not saying it bad, but we're overpowered. We're at this profound unease, maybe even feel humility in the face of divine energy. This mysterium component has 2 elements, which Otto discusses at considerable length. First, the numinous.
The numinous?
Yes.
What's the numinous?
Numinous means arousing spiritual or religious emotion, mysterious or awe-inspiring, also supernatural. It's like those dreams that changed you. Okay? Or the wordless experiences that you've had that cement you and your lover together for life. But you have no words for these unique experiences.
Right.
Celtics call these numinous experiences those thin places where we sense that the veil between us and the holy has been lifted or drawn apart or thinned out, and we can see and experience the divine more closely, more nearly. Okay? And in the face of all this overpowering and revealing experience, all we feel is our utter humility, even powerlessness. For the numinous experience, we first feel or sense an experience of God, the holy, or whatever you call God, as wholly other, WHOLL, wholly other. Or what? It's something truly amazing as being totally outside our normal experience. And secondly, there's a sense of fascination, which causes the subject of the experience in it to be enraptured, even attracted to that God. This awfulness of God in the first category sometimes aligns with what folks call this awfulness of God in this first category is what sometimes people refer to as the Old Testament as the awfulness aspect of God, ideas of a dread or vengeful or wrathful God.
Yeah.
But right on the heels of this feeling of alienation or wrathful God, there's this fascinans, or in Latin fascinans, is this fascinating part. You're drawn toward it. The numinous draws you in. It beckons you. You feel safe, even if the earth is shaking like nobody's business. Remember Moses in the burning bush? Exodus chapter 3. He's just tending his sheep down at Midian, and he happens to look aside, and over there is a burning bush. I'm sure he said, "What the hell" in Hebrew. But what is going on there? And he said...
And it doesn't burn up.
It doesn't burn up, that's right. So what does he do? Does he go far away like I would have done? He approaches it. He gets closer, okay? I had a dream one time, a big dream in the Carl Jung sense. And I was outside on this pavilion or seaside area in maybe Italy or something like that. And I'm just having some drinks with friends and having a good time. And then all of a sudden I start hearing something. It's like a little boy calling to me, "Help, help, help, help me." And I pull up, take off my clothes and don my Superman outfit. And I go into a house nearby and I realize with horror that house is deep, and he's deep within there. Ever seen Silence of the Lambs? It's like those steps, the final passages. He's going down the space. He goes into a basement where it's just cruddy and dirt, centuries of disuse and dust. And as my eyes get adjusted to the darkness, I see that there's another person down there. It's a he lying on a bench, just this crude bench. And I say to myself, is he awake, alive, dead? I go over, I approach him, draw near, and I shake him, and he moans, and I wake up crying, "My God, my God, my God." And my interpretation is that I had been neglecting my God down in my basement.
Right.
Still there.
Right.
But I needed to, I needed to see God as a bum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As something overlooked.
That's something I've overlooked in all my, PhD ways and REV ways, whatever it is.
Right.
Okay? Now, I told you last time about how Martin Luther King accepts the call of God in his kitchen. Okay? I call these experiences of God the Otto test. The mysterium tremendus, the one that shakes the hell out of you, and then the fascination part, the part that you're attracted to. And this is the truest test I know of for a real experience with the holy or the divine. Simply put, absent or without both the mysterium tremendum and the fascinans, you have only some weak God that is basically an idol, an anthropomorphic image of self to which I worship to some degree. And that's no God. That's idol worship.
Yep.
Yeah. So in conclusion, we're not here to interrogate your religious experience, nor diminish it. Far be it. You, with your experiences, will never be at the mercy of us two with our theories and categories. You do you. But next time, Class 9, we actually get to the idea of God. I cannot wait. And as we approach God as an idea, we're going to approach God as a what. What is God? Not who is God. So, folks, thanks for being here. Thank you for being here.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. Remember?
Bye. Oh, yeah. And don't forget,
if you don't do your own critical thinking,
you become someone's bitch.
Yeah. All right.
See ya.
Suck on that. Bye.
Suck on that.